Hello everybody. In this video, I'll be answering a question that many of you may have asked at least once in your life. How do our muscles grow? I'll cover various topics that contribute to muscle growth, explaining the basics of muscle hypertrophy, the role of MPS or muscle protein synthesis in muscle expansion, and I'll finish it off by explaining how our body generates this energy that fuels our workout. Muscle growth, or more professionally known as muscle hypertrophy, occurs when you challenge muscles with resistance, usually in the form of heavy weight. This forces the muscles to adapt and grow stronger. This happens due to the fact that whilst working against resistance, our muscles sustain microtrauma, basically meaning that exercise damages them. The growth doesn't happen during the workout, but rather during the rest after the workout. This repair process is facilitated by certain hormones like insulin, testosterone, and the human growth hormone. These hormones stimulate a process called protein synthesis. During this process, the amino acids in proteins repair the muscle, expanding in size and mass. For your muscles to grow, you need to have positive protein balance, meaning that your body has to synthesize more protein than it breaks down. Without this balance, you'll experience muscle atrophy, meaning the loss of muscle mass. To make sure you don't experience the latter, you need to combine a fair amount of resistance training with sufficient amount of protein intake, approximately 2 times more in grams than your body weighs in kilograms. So let's say you weigh 50 kilograms. You need to consume 100 grams of protein a day. Now I'll move on to muscle protein synthesis. As I said before, muscle fibers are repaired due to a process called muscle protein synthesis, or MPS in short. Protein is the building block of muscles, and this process is a natural occurring, but it needs to be triggered through the intentional micro-damaging of muscles through resistance exercise. MPS occurs when the amino acids that come from proteins bind and repair the damaged muscles from exercising. It is influenced by factors such as the intensity of the exercise, nutrition, and training experience. So these factors are protein intake. Aim for protein sources rich in leucine, which is the amino acid that binds to the muscles and repairs them. Foods that contain these specific amino acids are eggs and whey protein. They stimulate the process perfectly because of the large amounts of most important chemical. Post-workout nutrition. Consuming protein right after exercising is necessary to speed up the repair process. Training progression. When you start exercising, you experience something that many people call newbie gains. This subsequently means that people who didn't train much before experience rapid muscle growth for the first few months. This effectively slows down after time because the muscles become accustomed to the restraint, so the progressive overload in training is necessary. There are 2 phases of MPS: acute MPS responses. This phase occurs right after training. It only lasts a few hours. During this time, the muscles are quite pumped up and big. In acute responses, your body works hardest to repair the muscles after the workout. Chronic muscle growth. Over a long time, repeated MPS and repeated acute MPS responses will lead to significant and long-term muscle hypertrophy. Remember, if you don't consume enough protein, your body will not maintain the previously mentioned positive protein balance, which will lead to the loss of muscle. So, how exactly does our body find the fuel for us to perform these exercises? Well, there are 3 main energy systems which generate it to drive our exercises. 1. Phosphagen system. This is the fastest energy system. It provides immediate energy for explosive exercises, like the 100-meter sprint. First, the body uses the ATP that is stored in muscles themselves, but because the amount is very limited, it quickly runs out in about 2 to 3 seconds. After it runs out, the body uses phosphocreatine, or shorter PCR, which is a high energy molecule in the muscles to generate ATP quickly. However, this only lasts for 10 to 15 seconds before depleting because the PCR molecule is very limited in our body. 2. The glycolytic system. Once the phosphagen system runs out, the glycolytic system activates and takes over. It provides energy for high-intensity, mid-duration activities like the 400-meter sprint or heavy lifting. It uses glucose, so sugar, to produce ATP and doesn't use oxygen. This system lasts around 30 seconds to 2 minutes, but produces lactic acid, which is an acidic substance created due to the lack of cellular respiration, so the use of oxygen in this system in this process. Lactate causes the burning sensation that you feel in your muscles after an exercise. 3. Oxidative system. This is the slowest but most effective. It produces ATP for extended periods of time. It uses oxygen to break down carbohydrates, fats, and even protein to produce ATP for long amounts of time, although it is dependent on the cardiovascular functions to deliver oxygen. It can be produced for hours and is great for long duration steady activities like cycling or jogging. So, what actually causes these systems to run out in the end? Why can't we continue exercising forever? Well, long story short, the ATP runs out. In the first system that I mentioned, it's because phosphocreatine is extremely limited and runs out very quickly. In the second one that I mentioned, lactate and hydrogen ions build up because of the lack of oxygen. This causes the muscle pH to reduce, making the muscles more acidic and impairing muscle contraction. Finally, the last system that I mentioned. After the muscles use up all the carbs to get ATP, the body switches to fats, which is not as effective and much slower. To sum it up, here's what we covered. Muscle growth or hypertrophy is driven by resistance training and fueled by rest and recovery. Protein synthesis is the process your body uses to repair and grow muscles, and you can optimize it with proper training, nutrition, and rest. Finally, your body uses different energy systems to power your workouts, and understanding how they work can help you train smarter. Thank you for watching.